Hi, this is Chris Brown with Danfoss Tech Support in North America. In today's video, we're going to cover how to build a calculation in an AK-SM 800 system manager to be able to clone sensors to use in multiple locations. So in our system manager, we will want to clone a sensor when we need to use that sensor in multiple locations. So in today's video, we're going to use a sensor for multiple rooftop units under the HVAC section. So as you can see here, when we're under our configuration control section, we have 2 rooftop units set up, or 2 HVAC units. We can then jump into the HVAC tab and get into the setup of each of these units. And you can tell here when we look at addresses for our sensors that our first rooftop unit has a sensor assigned, a physical sensor on 1-3.4. This is the sensor we want to use to control the second unit as well. As you can see here, it's currently blank. So to build a calculation, if we go back to our main configuration page, we can go to Control, and then our Miscellaneous tab, and then Calculations. Now, depending on your program, you may already have existing calculations listed out here. Always at the top of the screen, though, you can click on New Calc to create a new one, and then the number may change, or the numbers that are available to you may change based on what already exists in the program. Once we've added our new calculation, we can go ahead and double click on that. And then inside of the calculation is where we start to build the logic behind the cloning of the sensor. So for units, because we're cloning a temp sensor to use as another temp sensor, we have to make sure our units are properly selected, or else the calculation would not be available to us when we return to the HVAC portion of the program. So we'll make sure we're choosing the proper units of SI degrees Fahrenheit, since this is a temp sensor. Style is an option that gives us formatting for the calculation, so it can give us a little bit of a head start so that we don't have to do as much creation later on. So again, we're cloning a sensor here. This will make things very easy, where again, it formats the rest of the calculation for us. Description is just a reference so that we can name the calculation in case we need to know exactly what it's doing later on. I'll throw a basic name in here. And then under data point type here, this is where we would choose the sensor that we want to clone. So again, the physical sensor from the first rooftop unit, which is on 1-3.4, we'll select that. And again, because we chose the style as clone, the rest of the calculation has already been formatted for us. So when we look at the bottom half of this calculation, true means under any condition that will take the result, or SI1, and that'll be the output of the calculation. So we would always output whatever our physical temp sensor is reading as the output of this calculation based on what we have configured here at the bottom. Now that we've cloned this sensor, the calculation itself is complete. And then we just want to return to the HVAC section to assign the calc. So we can use this trail here at the top where you have location and then the multiple sections you've gone through. So we can select Control here. HVAC tab again. And then we'll go on to Setup and Addresses, just as we did initially. And because this is a temp sensor we're looking to assign, we'll make sure we go to the Sensors tab. And we'll now go to Unit 2, which is where we want to reapply that same temp sensor, and where we would normally type in a physical address here under the zone temp address for unit number 2. We'll double click, and on your address type, because we want to use a calculation here, we'll want to make sure we're clicking the calculated bubble. This will give us the list of any available calculations that we can assign. If you do not see the calculation number for what you created, that could very well be because you did not choose the proper units. So you'd want to return to your calculation and double check your units if you don't see it listed here. Otherwise, we can select or highlight the calculation and hit OK. You can see the address now, instead of a physical point, is actually showing the calculation number reference. And at this point, we're complete with the programming. The cloned calculation is now assigned to the second rooftop unit, and that unit would use that same temp sensor reading from the first unit to control its heating and cooling for this rooftop unit. Thanks for watching our video. For more technical documentation and videos on our system managers, please visit danfoss.com/supermarket support.